So friends, just know that there's several different versions of this. You could have that part in there. You could have a jet that does not have that part in there. What this is for is when the jet is in the jet body, it lines up with the hose coming in. If it's for turning it off and on. Some of them actually don't use that because they think that it's it's different jet pressures and different things, and some of them also have a part that fits right in here. This particular one is very, very simple, so I'm going to replace it first. It actually has no guts in it. It's just the diffuser and that's it. So we're going to change it first. And this particular diffuser, when they get bad, you can actually just break them off. You can see that the little tabs right there will just come right off very easily. Get all the trash off of them like that right there. And then what you do is, if you'll notice in the diffuser, there's a little cutout right there, and on the jet there's a little jut right there. You see it? So if you take that little cutout and that jut and you line them up like that, and you get right over the top of it, and you just put constant pressure. I'll sometimes put one side and then push and do the other. But you got to make sure that you're over the little jet right there. In fact, I'm going to turn it around so you can see the other side. Constant pressure and down, and you can see that it locked in right there, and it locked in on all sides. You see that? And if you get one like that one right there that didn't quite lock, take a small flat screwdriver and just kind of push it like that, and you'll see that it'll lock in place. And if they split, sometimes they'll actually split in the middle. As long as they come back together and they're holding, then they're good. And that's all you do to that jet right there. That one's done. And then you would put, if it had this part, of course you would stick that part back in there. Alright, so the next one is this one. This is going to be a little bit more difficult. This diffuser is really not that bad, so I'm going to use my flat screwdriver to release it. And that's the problem, is if you snap this new diffuser on and you don't switch your parts over and that kind of stuff, they're hard to get back off without destroying them. In fact, they're virtually impossible to get back off without destroying. So what I'm doing is lifting this up off of the, and you use just a little flat screwdriver. I'll do one last one. Come on here. Now you see that it has this inside of it, and it's actually held by that. There's a spinner in there. There's a bearing. So what you can do is lift up that side right there to release that bearing on that side. Lift up this side to release the bearing, and then you can start easing that part out. Sometimes you'll put your flat screwdriver behind it and kind of push it out. Just be careful, because the issue is if you break this stuff, you can't buy it. When you break these things, it's the entire jet. So there is the part that was locked in to that part right there. Now, if you'll notice, if you look inside, there's a little colored piece right there. So I'm going to pull this out. This is actually pushed in pretty hard. I'm going to take a big flat screwdriver. This piece right here, it almost looks like it's pinched inside here, but you see how far that's sticking through, and you also see that they're lined up with these. So what I'm going to do is take my screwdriver and pop it, and that right there was just pinched. It's not normally that hard to get out, and this other piece is out now. So you see that it's in a certain shape in a certain direction. So when you put it back in there, you want to line up these. You see there's only two of them on this particular one. You want to line them up with these little holders here so you get the most air movement. This is actually the air part. This is the part that creates the venturi effect. So I'm going to take that and kind of just bump it through. Just go easy with it. Still not quite in there. So you can take a tool like a little socket or something and pop it on the top of it. Alright, so now I've got it in. You can see that you can see through it right there. You see my shirt through it. Now we're going to snap this in with the bearing, and what we're trying to do is push it where it snaps under those. So you can just put some good pressure on it and snap that in on either side. So this part is prepared. Of course, you can stick this back in and push this down over the other part back in place. And like I say, most of them are not going to be quite this difficult to put back together. So now we're going to line it up like we did on the other one. You've got this little area right there, the little tab. So I'm going to line that tab up on this side first, and then I'm going to take and put constant pressure all the way on both sides, and you can see that it snapped right together. That one actually snapped in a little bit easier than the other one. So I'm going to finish putting that in. I'm going to put it on a solid surface, but you get the general idea. If you have a diffuser that has that kind of deal in it, that's not replaceable. That's actually cast in the diffuser. If you have the diffuser that's like this, you can switch the parts like I showed you from one to the other, or you might get real lucky and have one like, where's it at? Like this, where there are no other additional parts other than something like that. So one more thing, friends, is when you're replacing this kind of diffuser, these are a little bit tougher than these are as far as the material goes. If these are cold, they don't go on very well. So what I do is I warm them up. Now I won't boil them, but I'll put them in the hot tub sometimes and warm them up, which is a little over 100 degrees. Put hot water on them or warm water just to warm them up before you put them on, because if they're cold, they're real tight and they're also brittle. So just make sure you don't put them on when they're really cold. So friends, if you just watched a video about replacing diffusers on Waterway jets, make sure you click the link below and it'll take you to the diffuser section. And buy today. I don't know much, but I do know hot tubs. I'm the spot guy.